Welcome to Nuka World, America's favorite vacation destination. I'm Cappy.
Ooh, and I'm Bottle.
And we're here to make sure you have FUN fun during your time at the park.
A vacation that refreshes, a trip you won't forget. A park with every minimum acceptable safety standard met. Quench your thirst for adventure at Nuka World.
Gentlemen, No Man's Sky has been out for a little while now. We obviously last week talked about it in relation to the pre-patch version, the post-patch version, initial sort of like feelings on the game. It was Tuesday. Your reviews since gone up, 7 out of 10 on GameSpot. I feel like we had a lot of conversations in the office about this. The reasons why you like it are the same reasons why I like, or like they're very similar to why I like it.
Nice.
I've been playing a bunch of it. We saying nice for it.
I don't know.
I could have written your review. I couldn't have written your review. And then obviously there's a lot of people who are super pissed about the game for a number of different
Where are my
reasons.
dinosaurs, Sean Murray?
I know, right? There's that really funny Jurassic Park video
love it.
where
That
they
was
show the
pretty
pre and post
good. Yeah.
versions. That's pretty good. Rob, you've been playing a bunch as well?
Yeah, I've been playing a really good amount. Unfortunately, throughout the 3 live streams we've done, I've had to restart my save.
Really?
Yeah, so the first one we did...
Because of bugs?
No, just
no,
because
just-
of like showing the game. So
Right,
PC,
okay.
obviously, I got to start over again on different saves. So
Right.
and then for the patch, I had to restart the save. Whatever. Haven't not finished it, whatever that ending is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've really liked it, and I walked in from within the first 2 hours, like realizing that I would like it, and that also I let my hype level before the game like
Your, like,
subside.
expectations went, like,
yeah.
yeah.
So when I got into it, I was like, okay, I can do this. This is what I imagined this game to be, and I mean I'm really into it.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I guess, where we are with it, because it's been, I mean, it's a full price game. It includes quite a lot of repetition. So I want to kind of like talk to you guys about like how we feel about it, a week and some change out. I feel like I have like this ridiculous, like weird abusive relationship with this game where I really like it. I really like being in it. I think it's incredibly simplistic. But I enjoy exploring in games already. Like when I played World of Warcraft, I played for years, and I hardly ever partied up with anyone. I just loved soloing. I liked exploring. Azeroth. That's how I play those games. Same with Fallout. Same with Skyrim. Like these games take me forever to complete because I just love ambling around. And this is basically a game about ambling around. But it fucking crashes all the time for me. Like I've had outside of like having problems where, like just structural problems or like UI problems where I've like accidentally done stuff or I didn't know what to do for a while or I couldn't figure out how to use this menu. One of the biggest problems I had over the weekend was I'm following the Atlas path, and any time I tried to warp jump into the system, it would like crash. Like I literally tried 15 times.
I had that happen
and
to
over and
me
over.
with one warp point. And so what I did to fix it, which you shouldn't have to do, but what I did is I did something else first.
Okay, right.
Saved my game and then tried it again. I like went to a space station, literally got out of my ship, got back in.
Yeah.
Just to like trigger something new in the chain of events, and that helped. But yes, the game it does crash at times.
What I did was go around that system because I figured it's just haunted or something.
Actually, the very first time I went into a black hole, the game crashed, and I was like, that is meta and intelligent as hell. I nearly,
Sean, you're a genius.
I nearly gave the game a 10 right there.
Dope.
Fucking hell. That's funny you mentioned the get in and out of the cockpit thing, because I use that like I use F5 in a Bethesda game where I'm terrified of Bethesda games crash all relatively frequently as well. And I'm constantly using that. Rob, are you using that as well? Like I feel like I'm jumping in and out of my spaceship because every time you exit your spaceship, it saves.
Once I saw that restore save, I was like, okay, that's what I'm spamming.
Yeah.
I actually haven't had as many crashes with the game as much as I've had in-game issues. Yeah, like one where I guess I happened to land near like a Heridium pillar.
Okay.
Get out of my ship, get back to my ship, and then my ship just is stuck. And Mary had this exact same problem.
Right.
Ship gets stuck in the Heridium pillar. Ship explodes. I respawn and I rise over a hill, and my ship is on top of the Heridium pillar.
Oh no.
And I have to mine steps in order up to get to it. My ship's broken when I'm on top, which took me 10 minutes to get up there. I mean, it was a nightmare. But yeah, like those are real deal breakers.
Hmm.
And when I hear Mary having the same problem,
Right.
like that seemed like a very 1 in a million thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Like I just landed next. I mean, it was fine. I wasn't touching it. Like, and the game also lands for you, so you can't like necessarily prevent these things when you'd like to. Yeah, I mean, as far as crashes though, I haven't had that problem.
It's interesting. The chat is like splitting up both ways. Ronan7 saying that's funny. Saw a streamer entering the black hole for the first time and he also crashed. Somebody else saying I watched a couple of streams. Lucrative 8 saying I watched a couple of streams and the game crashed for almost every one. Time Machine saying never crashed for me. You know, it can go either way. In a weird way, this feels like a game. It feels like I'm playing. I'm exploring a universe which is like broken or something. Like it feels like the crashes they've become so habitual that, and with the Atlas stuff, like there's this whole like, is the universe, has it been designed for you or is it this other thing? You know, like that malicious demon theory kind of matrixy shit's going on as well, right? So then when I see the game crash, I'm like, oh, it's just like part of the game, right. Or like that's what my brain has done to like accept that reality or something. I'd almost expect it on a PC game, but I'm playing on PlayStation 4, so it's so peculiar that it does it a lot.
It is a bit strange.
What do you think about, I guess, the game outside of the technical issues? You know, are you still enjoying it? Are you still playing it? You know, past the end of, you know, the one of the missions, as it were, are you still finding joy playing No Man's Sky?
The latter question is the correct one, but yes, I am still playing it. I can't help but turn it on at my desk, and it's preventing me sometimes from getting work done because essentially I finished the Atlas path, and so now from where I am, I'm trying to just get to the center of the galaxy, just as you would if you didn't follow that path. And what it's become is sort of a repetitive cycle where I get enough materials to make warp cells, fuel my hyperdrive, travel as far as I can. Inevitably, my like the warp drive that makes your hyperdrive better, it breaks after a few things.
Right.
So you have to get more material. And I found myself doing that, and am I having fun anymore? I don't know if fun is the right word, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Like,
right.
Because really, I know what you get at the end of the game. Like I'm not trying to figure that out, right? But I'm still enjoying the challenge of progressing. And when I need to sort of pick up the pieces and repair my stuff, I find myself back on a planet. I still feel happy when I find a cache of like rare resources.
Right.
I still feel tense when it's like. Actually, I hadn't experienced really difficult survival until after beating the Atlas path in the review. Now I'm finding planets that are just really kicking my butt. So that's been kind of nice. But the Atlas path for me was really the meat of the game, the thing that I latched onto the most. So without that, there is something kind of missing, but I still like it. And it sounds like they're adding so much. I'm really curious where it's going to go. And I want to be at a good place, you know, with my ship and my gun and stuff by the time that all comes.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of experiment in finding, I don't know, finding your own fun or something. Like I had this idea that I wanted to get Starbug from Red Dwarf, you know, the British sort of old 90s television show. I wanted to get like something that looked like Starbug because that's the kind of what No Man's Sky feels like to me. And I spent like 3 hours just like going from like space station to like, you know, on planet little trading posts and going to a different system to do it. And then eventually I found this like relatively round, relatively green looking machine and I got it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not necessarily sure if it's fun, but it's like interesting. It's interesting. I was actually, weirdly enough, my wife was watching me play and she was talking about how it reminds her of like the first two parts of Spore. Like, do you remember Spore was like, it was four different games, right? Basically, you just kept going, right? And the first part was this like really dinky 2D kind of thing and you'd evolve and do all that. And then the second part was when you crept onto land. And like, that was really fun. And I never played like, I didn't really enjoy the city stuff. I just hit reset and go do the first two parts again. So there was no real challenge in it, but it was just like novel and interesting. And that's kind of what I feel like No Man's Sky is, just without the reset button. I keep going back just to go back.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Rob? Are you playing it with the sort of like end mission in mind? Are you just enjoying the moment to moment?
I love the moment to moment. I love turning off my brain. You know, we've talked about it. Like you said it best. Like there is something inherently like comfortable that I get with finding, like right now I found a system that loves plutonium.
Right.
And I'm actually still here because I'm at like $5 million.
That was like 5 days ago.
I go back and forth. I'm loving it. My plan is now, I've decided, is to just make a lot of money and then just go for it. Just trek.
You're just like, you're gonna
I swear I love it.
You're
It's
like gonna
so
be
fun.
a lawyer all your 20s and retire when you're like on your 30th birthday. I'm out.
But for me, it's getting to where I am now. You know, I like hitting the market. I like the trading aspects. Prior to that, it was like I actually feel like the systems prior were really crappy. Like,
Right.
but it's what I wanted from this game, which is, you know, I like to dwell and imagine what our universe actually is like, right? Like there are a lot of these awful planets, and it's so cool to have that contrast. To like, there was one planet where it was this acid rain. Like, oh, this planet's kind of cool. Acid rainstorm comes in, and I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm like 10 minutes away from my ship. I'm digging holes in the ground. Like, it's tearing me apart. So when you find that, you know, whatever your favorite system may be, whether
Yeah.
it's filled with life or a rare resource that, you know, is plentiful on planets, like
Or weird animals.
weird ass animals, whatever it is. I don't know. It's like getting to that, you know, the odds, the finding that like that favorite
That, like,
system, that
needle in
planet.
the haystack
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
just
thing.
that is fun, and so I'm content with where I am right now. But you know, on the flip side, like I totally understand, and I knew from like that 2 hours in, like some people are not gonna like this.
Yeah.
It is not what the gameplay. The game, like, you know, you think about all the E3 gameplay clips. That's like the 1 out of 100 planet, right?
Right.
Like, I feel like people forgot about that, and so it becomes boring to certain people when they land on that barren ass moon or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the problem, because that is boring and it's not fun when you're looking around doing nothing.
The trick is to get back in your ship and haul ass into space and find a different planet. I mean,
Right.
that's what I found. Whenever I found myself bored and dejected, it was just like wake up, get out of here.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot of places
Exactly.
to go check out.
Don't burn out on that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't a game that's like really trying. It's weird. Like this can go either way, right? This is either like super apologist on my part, or it's just like a weird insight into the reality of modern games. But like so many games mollycoddle you and try and keep you entertained on a moment to moment basis. This game is so fucking apathetic to your
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
enjoyment. It's just like this is the way it is.
Right.
Figure it out.
Right.
But then here's the other side of it, and Heap Gamer makes a really good point in the Twitch chat. If this game launched for $40, then the price would have been fair. But the fact is, the price is $60, which is way too overpriced in my opinion. I feel bad for the developers. Hope they don't get too much hate for such a small team. They did a great job. Obviously, when you're reviewing the game, the price is like a difficult thing to like include because it's such a weirdly subjective thing.
And
Some
it'll
people-
change. Things will go on sale.
That's true.
And a review when a game is 60 is different than when a game is 40.
Right.
Or it shouldn't be. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's
If you
difficult.
take price into account, then.
Oh, and especially where they have stated with patches coming up with, like, you know, space cruisers and base building down the road.
Well, yeah, maybe they've promised, some extra stuff. But I guess, you know, in the review, we tend not to talk about the price, but let's kind of talk about it here a little bit. We're in the sort of privileged position where if, you know, we don't get all our games for free. We get some games for free. It allows us a little bit more leeway in the games we do spend money on. For, you know, a lot of people, do you think maybe a full price for this is a little bit too much?
It's hard to say. I mean, because I've played the game, right? Like, we got a copy for review. I didn't pay for it, but I am every day flirting with the idea of paying $100 on eBay for the limited edition.
Right, yeah.
Because I really like this game, and that's a really beautiful package, and I think it's a beautiful way to contain this thing that I respect. I mean, it's hard for me to know. Like, I am biased because of our job, but like, I think that there are a lot of games that command value in different ways. And I think that this game, you could find an argument very easily if just not the amount of things to do and see.
Right.
You know, so many people love to equate time with value. Like when a game is $20 and it's only 2 hours, like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
Well, okay, this one you can play probably infinitely.
But like, how long have you played it for?
At this point,
Jeez.
50 some odd hours.
Right, okay, so
yeah.
it's not a bad return on investment. I
Yeah,
guess.
no. I mean, you go to a movie nowadays, it's $12. You get an
Yeah.
hour and a half out of it. Like, I don't know.
What do you think yourself, Rob?
I'm super into it.
The value proposition.
I mean, just from, you know, I think the hook for me has always been like in real time, arriving in a space, or I'm sorry, at a solar system and going through atmosphere and landing on a planet, and it does that for me. And I've always wanted that since the day I had a toy spaceship
Right.
in my hand and I was 10 years old.
It's one of the
Like,
coolest experiences.
It is
out there.
one of the most fulfilling things I've ever
First
had.
thing
in a video
when
game.
I played Elite Dangerous for the first time, I tried to do it. It didn't do it, and I was like, oh,
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's a beautiful game, but like that's the thing is you feel so claustrophobic when you arrive in these systems. Yeah, I discovered it, but oh, I want to get out of this spaceship, you know?
Yeah.
And this game is able to kind of meet both worlds, and it's legitimately like what I wanted, and I'm totally content with it.
See, I think it's like definitely worth $60, and it's definitely worth your time if you were the type of person who enjoys that type of like. To me, it's such a one type of game. It's if
Yeah.
you enjoy games that are like pique your fascination, or about exploration, and about if they're not shooters or like narrative driven experiences or very linear focused games like a Call of Duty or any number of third person action games, if that's what you're looking for out of this, then fucking go somewhere else. But like
Totally.
to me it feels like if you were into that type of exploration, what the hell is this thing that's on our screen right now? Mary Kate and Rob have been putting together these videos of all this weird nonsense.
I
It's
really
just
hate these
terrifying.
animals. I really hate them.
I don't know. You get some cool ones though.
I love the roll the dice. Look at that freak of nature.
such a weirdo.
If you like shit like this, buy this video game.
They're all weird though. And like and I was criticizing that in my review that and I think me and Mike talked about it, like after the 20th weird animal, like it starts to, you sort of stop being surprised. And I put something like that in my review, and someone was like, well, from God's perspective, like all these creatures are special. And it's like, okay, even if no, sorry. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. I misrepresented.
It's a hard argument to disagree with.
An alien looking down on us would be very confused by what we are and think that we were just weird creations.
Right.
But these are amalgamations of things that we know to exist on planet Earth for the most part, slapped together in a way.
This was the weirdest.
Slapped together.
That was the only animal right here that we're like, sorry to interrupt. That actually looks kind of normal.
yeah.
It's like a lamb. Sorry. Keep going, Peter. I'm sorry.
Let's move on.
Heap Gamer says the animals in this game freak the hell out of me. No amount of creepypastas freak me out as much as these entities. I mean, that's a good reason to play the game, if nothing else. I totally get why people are down on it. I definitely, like we talked 1,000 times about the expectations that were leveled against this game. I feel like I talked 1,000 times like in like various different like Twitters and videos and everything about how they were running a dangerous sort of line with the way the trailers are coming out, and with the like. I know Sean, and from when we talked and we did all those projects about the game, one of the things that he said like very early on to me was that he wanted this game to be like Minecraft, not in terms of how it plays, but in terms of how people came to it, that they didn't know the recipes, that they didn't know what it was about, they didn't know what it was for. And I think in being vague about what this game was, especially when I feel like the multiplayer stuff, that was the thing I wish he'd like nailed down early, because I was pretty sure there was no multiplayer like 2
That
years
can be a
ago.
big deal for a lot of people.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that like in trying to be vague, he was trying to be like to allow there to be wonder. And I think there is a certain backlash about that, where people who aren't like engaged in the minute to minute of game reporting like we are
Exactly.
thought that there was something else and wasn't. And I kind of get that. But in terms of everything else, like, technical stuff notwithstanding, I think it's a good game. It's not a great game. It's not a wonderful game. Yeah. There are parts of it that are certainly great. But it's pretty good, right?
The thing that gets me about the whole conversation of like, you promised this and that, and it's not here, is like, this game had to come out, right?
Right.
It had been a long time coming. They sort of exhausted the hype train fuel early on. I'm
Probably
sure
Sony breathing down their neck, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, like I'm sure Sean wanted to put everything in the game that everyone right now is saying is missing,
Right.
but that's just not always possible. Games are really expensive, and they got to be finished long before they're shipped.
It'll be interesting to see what version of No Man's Sky exists 6 months from now or a year from now. Guess we'll have to wait and find out. Peter Brown, thank you so much for
Yes.
coming in. Rob Handlery, thank you as ever.
Thanks.
Thanks to everyone sending questions as well. Much obliged. If you have any thoughts on No Man's Sky, please put them in the comments below.